everybody, it's me, Alexa, and today we're talking about the recent 2021 Malayalam film Joji, directed by Dileesh Potan and starring Fahad Fasil as well as many other talented individuals. Special thank you to our 5 Meters Deep patrons for voting for this film for our monthly movie club. Make sure to head on over, check it out if you want to help vote for May's monthly movie club or any of the future months. Also, before we jump in, this is a spoiler-free review since it's so new. There's a lot of people debating watching it or not, so this will be just my thoughts on it. You can hear what they are and then decide if this is a movie for you or not. So if you haven't seen it yet, feel free to keep on watching. Promise not to spoil anything, and if any of y'all watching this have seen it and want to leave any spoilers in the comments, make sure to write a spoiler warning before it so we don't ruin the movie for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. So let's start off with a positive. I thought the story of the film was really cool. The idea that it had, the different moments where the story was actually happening was really cool. So the movie was really slow, which I'm seeing as a trend in these Malayalam films that I've watched. However, in this film was one of the more prominent examples of slowness in the movie, where, so again, it had this cool story, but there was just so much time in between anything happening. Like, literally, there'd just be shot after shot of nothing happening. And some people like that style of film. If you do, I'm glad. You'll probably love this movie, but me personally, like, I don't mind if it's slow. Like, I'm gonna compare this to the film Another Round that I just watched recently, which is a Danish film. I just watched that, and it's also a slow movie. But there's stuff always happening. Like, so it's slow moving, but there's constantly something happening to push forward the plot. While in this film, Joji, it was slow moving, and nothing was happening at many times. There were a lot of really great moments, and especially near the end, you know, of course, per usual films, you know, you hit the climax parts and it picks up the pace a bit. But it just had so many shots and scenes that didn't move the plot forward, and I thought they were going to sometimes. Like, I made guesses that were just completely wrong because I was trying to find meaning in these scenes that just were there. And now, it was a very well-crafted story. If you break it down to the actual story elements and what happened, it was all really intriguing and cool. Like, there was a lot of really great things that happened. But there just were so many things in between that I felt bored for most of the movie. And I don't like feeling bored while I watch movies. So again, I can understand why other people liked it, but for me, that was my most prominent emotion in the film. And it had this wonderful soundtrack in the background, as well as beautiful cinematography in it. There were some shots in that were just gorgeous. And even some of those unnecessary shots, I was like, all right, you know, at least that's really pretty. But you can't make your movie all around just that. And the cinematography, as well as like the editing a bit of some scenes and the music, often made scenes feel like they were building up to something, only for nothing to happen. And that happened so many times throughout the movie where it had these crescendos in the music or like this intensity in it that was really well done. Like, again, the score was great. And it had these moments where I was like, oh, something's gonna happen finally. And then it just wouldn't. And now, I will say that then the moment near the end where, for me, the biggest surprise happened, it did then make that have a slightly higher payoff, like a slightly bigger one, because I was expecting kind of nothing to happen again, and it to be a bit more mundane, and then it was like, oh, he did that now? So it did have it, but the heightened impact that had was so marginal above what it would have been on its own that having all these build-ups with no payoff just was not worth it to have that marginal difference in payoff for that one scene. So with this kind of slow building crime drama movie, slow shots and slower moments can be utilized very effectively to help enhance the intensity of the film. However, it was just overused in this, and that's why it became to that point of, instead of increasing intensity, it just got boring, because they just overused it, and overuse of any technique will make it less effective. And that's what I think happened with this film, where they utilized this technique, which can be really helpful, but then they just kept on using it, allowing for it to just kind of lose its effect by the last time. Like, I remember at one point while watching the film, I got fully distracted by the architecture of the house for like a solid, like, 5 to 10 minutes because it was a really cool house as well. Like, I'll give credit to that, like how it moved. It was really cool. Like, had the staircase like with the like half circle on it. It's really cool looking. So I was looking at that. So it is a partially credit to just a really cool location that they had. But the movie should have been interesting enough where I wasn't looking at that for that long. But nothing was happening. So I was like, okay, I was still paying attention to the story and stuff. But so much was just not happening that I was able to also lend a lot of my focus to the architecture while reading subtitles. So yeah, that's my overall thought on this movie, is that it had a cool story with great score, amazing acting. I also want to touch on that really quickly. Fahad Fasil and everyone else in the film did a great job. Like, there was not a weak performance at any moment in it. The movie was just so slow that for me it became boring. And because of that, I will be only giving it a basking shark rating, which is not a bad rating. It's still in that average range of film, but yeah, it's not one I have any interest in watching again or really watching, because I was genuinely bored for a large portion of it. Despite the fact that it had this cool story, great acting, amazing score, great cinematography, it was just so poorly paced that I was bored. And I don't want to feel bored during movies, so that's why it's not getting a super high rating. Because it has all those good things, that's why it's not like in a bottom tier or anything, because it wasn't a bad movie by any means. And that's why it's still like in the average range, because it had so many positive techniques and positive things to say about it. But I was bored. Before we leave, I do want to quickly state that I did like the ending a lot. I'm not going to go into too much detail of it, obviously, because it's a spoiler for your review, but I thought that it was a really great moment. It was very like poetic almost with how it worked. With the parallels and stuff, so it was very well crafted. It was a very well thought out story. It just, the delivery of it just hit the mark for me. So yeah, that is all my thoughts on Joji. Let me know of your thoughts down below. Did you like it? Do you think I'm crazy? Or like, how did you find that boring? It was so amazing. Or did you also have similar opinions as me? Let me know in the comments down below in a respectful manner, and I would love to discuss the movie further with y'all. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and check out our Patreon if you want to help vote on next month's monthly movie club. And yeah, thank you again so much for watching, and I hope you all are staying safe out there and have an absolutely amazing day, guys. Bye!